There's something about 3 a.m. that feels almost mystical, isn't there? The house is quiet, the world outside is still, and yet, here you are, wide awake, staring at the ceiling. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. So, many of us, especially as we get a little older, find ourselves waking up at this odd hour, wondering why sleep seems to slip away just when we need it most. Now, you might have heard people joke about the 3 a.m. club, but let me tell you, this isn't just some random quirk of aging. There's actually a lot happening in our bodies and minds that can explain why this happens, and more importantly, what it might be trying to tell us about our health. That's what we're going to explore today, because understanding why you're waking up at 3 a.m. isn't just about getting a better night's sleep, it's about taking care of your overall well-being. And the good news? There are simple, practical ways to help ease those nighttime wake-ups and feel more rested. So, let's start with one of the biggest reasons this happens: changes in our sleep cycles. You see, as we age, our bodies produce less melatonin. That's the hormone that helps regulate sleep. It's like our internal clock starts running a little differently. We might find ourselves getting sleepy earlier in the evening, which can lead to waking up earlier in the morning, or in this case, the middle of the night. But here's the thing. It's not just about biology. Sometimes waking up at 3 a.m. can be linked to stress or even unresolved thoughts. Ever notice how your mind suddenly decides to replay every conversation you've ever had or remind you of that thing you forgot to do? It's like our brains pick the quietest moment to turn into a busy train station. And then there's the role of physical comfort. Maybe your joints are a little stiffer these days, or you're feeling too warm or too cold. These small discomforts can be enough to pull you out of deep sleep without you even realizing it. Now, before we go any further, I want you to know this: waking up at night doesn't automatically mean something's wrong. It's a common part of aging, but it's also something we can work with. And that's what we'll keep exploring, because the next steps are all about simple adjustments that can make a real difference. For example, one of the best things you can do is take a look at your evening routine, what you do in the hours before bed can set the tone for your whole night. Things like cutting back on caffeine in the afternoon, avoiding heavy meals too late, or even just dimming the lights an hour before bedtime can signal to your body that it's time to wind down. And let's talk about light for a second, because it's more powerful than we realize. Our bodies rely on natural light cues to know when to sleep and when to wake up, but these days we're surrounded by artificial light from TVs, phones, and tablets, and that can confuse our internal clock. Try reducing screen time before bed, or if you do wake up at night, resist the urge to check your phone. That little burst of light can trick your brain into thinking it's morning, making it even harder to fall back asleep. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but what? If I've tried all this and I'm still waking up? Well, that's where we'll go next, because sometimes there are deeper factors at play and the solutions might surprise you. But for now, start paying attention to those evening habits. Small changes can add up to bigger rest. And remember, you're not just getting older, you're gaining wisdom, and that includes learning how to listen to your body. So let's keep exploring together, because the best rest of your life might just be a few adjustments away. Middle points. Now, let's talk about something that might not be the first thing on your mind when you wake up at 3 a.m., but it plays a huge role in how well you sleep: hydration. Yes, what and when you drink can make all the difference. You see, as we get older, our sense of thirst isn't as sharp as it used to be, so we might not realize we're not drinking enough during the day. Then, by evening, we might try to catch up, only to find ourselves making extra trips to the bathroom at night. But here's the trick. Sip smartly. Try to get most of your fluids in earlier in the day and then ease off a couple of hours before bedtime. That way you're not dehydrated, but you're also not waking up because your bladder is. And if you do need a little something before bed, warm herbal teas like chamomile can be soothing without disrupting your sleep. Now, let's move to something else that's really important: your bedroom itself. Is it helping you sleep, or could it be working against you? Think about it. When was the last time you checked your mattress? If it's sagging or too firm, it might be time for a change. And your pillow, does it still support your neck the way it should? These things matter more than we realize. Then there's the temperature. Many of us grew up thinking a warm, cozy room was best for sleeping, but science actually shows that a slightly cooler room, around 65 degrees, helps your body settle into deeper sleep. So if you've been piling on the blankets, try kicking off a layer and see if that helps. And here's something you might not expect: your breathing. As we age, things like mild congestion or even changes in our muscle tone can lead to light snoring or shallow breathing at night. Sometimes that's enough to pull us out of sleep without us even knowing why. If that rings a bell, try elevating your head slightly with an extra pillow or using a saline nasal spray before bed. Small tweaks can lead to big improvements. But let's not forget one of the most powerful tools you have: your breath itself. If you wake up in the middle of the night and your mind starts racing, try this. Breathe in slowly for a count of 4, hold for a moment, then breathe out for a count of 6. That longer exhale tells your nervous system it's time to relax. You might be surprised how often this simple trick can help you drift back off. Now, all of these are things you can start trying tonight, but there's another piece to this puzzle: the quiet wisdom your body might be sharing with you. Sometimes waking at the same time, night after night, is a nudge to look a little deeper. Are there worries you haven't addressed? Maybe a conversation you've been putting off? Our bodies have a way of getting our attention when we've been too busy to listen during the day, and that's where we'll go next. Because understanding these subtle signals can be the key not just to better sleep, but to a happier, healthier life. After all, you've spent decades learning how to take care of others. Now it's time to turn that wisdom inward. So let's keep going, because the best nights and days are still ahead. Final points and conclusion. You know, there's a beautiful truth about this stage of life. We've earned the right to listen to our bodies without rushing to fix everything immediately. So if you're waking at 3 a.m., maybe it's not just about what's going wrong, but about what your mind and heart need you to hear. Let's talk about how to meet those needs in ways that help you sleep better and live fuller. First, consider this. Nighttime wakefulness often mirrors our daytime rhythms, or lack thereof. Our bodies thrive on gentle predictability. If your days feel scattered, your nights might too. Something as simple as a loose schedule, regular meals, a short walk in the sunlight each morning, even setting consistent times to read or call a loved one, can anchor your internal clock. It's not about rigid routines, but rather creating a flow that tells your body, we're safe, we're cared for. Now let's address something many hesitate to mention: loneliness. That 3 a.m. quiet can feel heavy when you're missing connection. If that resonates, try this. Keep a notebook by your bed. When you wake, jot down a name that comes to mind, maybe someone you haven't spoken to in years. The next day, that guide you to reach out, even just with a brief note. Often it's not more sleep we need, but more meaningful moments in our waking hours. And here's a game changer. Rethink how you view these wakeful nights. In many traditions, the hours before dawn are considered sacred, a time for reflection, creativity, or quiet prayer. If you've been lying there frustrated, try shifting perspective. Keep soft lighting, a salt lamp or dim nightlight, and use 20 minutes to savor a memory, recite poetry, or simply breathe with gratitude. Resistance fuels wakefulness. Acceptance often eases it. Of course, sometimes there are medical considerations. If you've tried adjustments without improvement, a quick chat with your doctor can rule out things like sleep apnea or medication side effects. But remember, you're the expert on your own life. Track your patterns for a week. Note what you ate, did, and felt on nights you slept well versus restless ones. You'll likely spot your personal triggers and solutions. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. Your worth isn't measured by perfect sleep. Society tells us we must optimize everything, but wisdom knows rest comes in many forms. A cat nap in your favorite chair, the stillness of early morning, even just closing your eyes while listening to music. The goal isn't to recapture the sleep of your youth, but to find what nourishes you now. So tonight, if you wake at 3 a.m., try whispering, "I'm here." Not as a problem to solve, but as a person to cherish. And if you'd like, share in the comments what helps you through those quiet hours. Your experience might light the way for someone else. Thank you for spending this time together. If this resonated with you, pass it along to a friend who might need it too. Here's to your health, your rest, and the profound wisdom you carry into every sunrise. Sweet dreams, dear one, however they come.